Best Battletech light mechs. That's what we're going to look at in this podcast. I'm going to push out my four favorites, or I should say my four choices. Then you're going to push out in the comments your four choices. And the link underneath, I've got this running on my blog. We explore it in a little more detail. Essentially, what I define as auto-includes. Auto-includes are mechs that are a perfect balance of all the attributes for that weight class, light, medium, heavy, and assault. And if you don't know what mission you're going to play, if you don't know what mechs your opponent is going to bring, and you really don't know what you're going to face, you can't go wrong with auto-includes. An example on the higher-end mechs is like the Catapult. It's just good across multiple spectrums. We explored the mechs from the starter set. That's up in my archive on the playlists if you want to check that out. So auto-includes for light mechs. And I have to say, for those of you who are new to Battletech, what's a little bit challenging in the beginning with the narrative is you realize that the idea of mechs was to make money, to come up with something. It's like the Ed 209 factor, right? We come up with Ed 209. Who cares if it works? We're going to sell spare parts to the city of Detroit. That's all we care about. So you see some of these mechs in the Inner Sphere during the Star League, they're just trying to sell a contract. They're just trying to sell an idea. So you come up with something like the Vulcan, a great mech for what it does, tearing up infantry and light vehicles. City Fight, the urban mech City Fight, good for what it does. But anything outside of this very, very narrow band, this very, very narrow definition, you're on the Desert Hex map, and there's nothing. There's no level 2, level 3, level 4, or higher terrain. There's no cover. There's nothing. You're toast if you're a Vulcan or an urban mech on there. Other mechs would excel on that. So you begin to see that not all mechs are created equally. Not all of them excel in all roles. But auto-include, again, no matter what, they work. So my criteria are, what keeps you alive is speed with a light mech. You can only mount so much armor. You can only mount so much on the low tonnage. So with that, I need to keep moving. I need to move fast enough, hex-wise, every turn that I'm throwing up +2, +3, +4, or plus more on there. Significant. I'm not standing still. I need to stay out far at range, so you're hitting me maybe at medium or long. Best case scenario. Maybe I get some cover too. And I need to be moving in such a way that it forces you, when you're shooting at me, to run, to keep up, to stay in range. So essentially, if you're an average mech warrior starting at 4 or higher with gunnery skill, that's going to get you 10s, 11s, and 12s, preferably 11s and 12s, to hit me. You might roll legendary. You might get lucky. Okay, I can't stop that. But that is what keeps the light mechs alive. So in picking one of these all-takers, best type mech, I need to make sure it's on the higher end spectrum of speed. There is a cutoff point. An example would be like the urban mech. That's way too slow. I don't need something, say, super fast like the Locust. I could tone it down a little bit, but we need to be on the higher end of speed simply because the light mech lives or dies by moving literally. Second, with weapons, a lot of light mechs are defined for a very definitive role, say like the Locust scouting or skirmisher. We want some weapons that can engage a variety of situations, a variety of targets, and is going to put down some notice on the table, which isn't always a good thing. Notice means I run up with my Locust. Okay, look, it's got a medium laser and machine guns. Even if I bring what I feel is a better variant and that I exclusively play, I think it's the 2L. You guys will correct me on that. It's the variant with the medium laser and 2 SRM 2-packs. That could put out a little bite. That Locust has got a little bit of a sting on there. But it's not really going to scare you. But you put down a PPC, you put down other such weapons, then it's going to attract attention based on the fact that this thing's packing more punch and it's only a light mech. So we want that feeling. And then, of course, the true everything in Battletech, battle value. I'm looking to spend the least, but I need to watch out for what I call the stealth tax on the battle value. Stealth tax is where you take a higher end machine. So say I take a higher end light mech, and it's certainly got some good armor, it's got some good speed, it's got some good weapons, but for a couple of hundred more battle value, I can jump into the medium weight class which will totally outclass it. And this stealth tax applies for mediums and heavies. You can go at the very high-end medium mechs, and in many cases, you're better off taking a lower-end heavy mech for a slight bump. So we need to look. So that's the criteria. That's the matrix for my choices. Number 1, Jenner. Jenner, yes, it's higher battle value. It's got mad speed, crazy speed, somewhat decent armor on there. 4 medium lasers. You're like, what? 4 medium lasers and the SRM 4-pack on there. That's got bite. That thing's going to get behind you really fast. It has the redundancy, medium laser, best weapon in the game for damage and heat output. You could go alpha. You got to watch your heat management on there. You could go alpha and fire everything off, and even against a medium or heavy mech, you're shooting rear armor. No one's ever happy when a Jenner's shooting at rear armor on there. You can't on that. It's got the speed. It can keep up with other mechs. It's very, very solid, very, very interesting on there. Okay, you're vulnerable to internal damage, maybe getting hit with the ammo and having it explode, but do you have to worry about that with a light mech? Often with a light mech, when things go internal in 1 or 2 spots, based on how damage transfers, you're going to get blown off and be prone if it's your legs, or you're going to get cored out and your fusion engine's just going to drop down on the floor because you just don't have the armor on there. Jenner is beast. Jenner is an auto-include. Number 2 on the list, Valkyrie. Valkyrie. Now, it's a little bit slower. Slower than the Jenner. But for a light mech, it's still got good speed. It's got okay armor. It's got the medium laser. It's got an LRM 10-pack. If you go on casual mode in a pickup game, you can fire aggressively. Fire when you need 12s. You're not going to run out of reloads. Campaign may be a little bit different. We got to kind of juggle that. The Valkyrie is versatility for a light mech, a lower-end battle value on there. You could use it for indirect fire. It can redeploy. A lot of dedicated indirect fire units, if you go with vehicles, they get into position. They don't have the ability to move to terrain and change ability to move other places. Valkyrie can run somewhere, do some indirect. If it has to be somewhere else, it runs to the other side. It could chase down light mechs with the speed and the range. It could add a little bit of softening up on the way in, kind of like a support mech on there. It's got a lot. It's a really, really interesting machine. Yeah, look, I'd love to have 2 longbows, 2 archers, 2 2 LRM carriers putting out 220 missiles a turn. That's massive battle value. If you want a good 10-pack LRM on a cheap, fast platform multi-role, use it to go on the sides and attack vehicles, slow them down, get motive hits. Yeah, Valkyrie's salad on there. Number three. Slight personal bias on this. I like the mech, but I'm trying to keep focused. The Javelin. Really, really interesting. Small battle value. Good speed. 2 SRM 6-packs on there. And that's it. So that's, at first glance, this is dangerous because it's like, well, Fritz, we want to get up there and be running and gunning and stuff. The nature of the SRM 6 means long range is not good. You want medium, you really want point blank. But on the light mech, what's interesting is this is like the ultimate like assassin thug type mech on there. This is the type of mech that like mugs you for your C-bills. You run up, it's got the speed where it can hug the sides of the map and spend a turn or two running up and not attracting fire. When your other units engage, now you got your Warhammer and you got your other mechs in there. You've got your Shadow Hawk engaging. We're mixing up. That Javelin breaks cover, runs up behind you. It's got the 2 SRM 6-packs. That's key. We're not talking about a 2 or 4-pack. A 6-pack, double redundancy. That's in the chest, so it's got good protection. That shoots out point blank. I got 2 fists. Yes, it's a light mech, and we don't have close quarter combat attacks doing tons of damage. That's a 1 in 6 shot for the head on there. Make you roll a consciousness check. It's got some really good bite for the battle value at what it does. It's interesting on there. Number 4, and this is at the lower end, but it's a good mech. It's a good mech. It's in the starter set. It's solid. It's solid. Commando. Low battle value, good armor, good speed at the lowest end of the spectrum for light mechs that I would feel comfortable with to still stack modifiers on their movement modifiers. It likes to run up, shoot a bunch of stuff, and run away. It's got the 6-pack, it's got the 4-pack, it's got the medium laser on there. That's some pretty heavy weaponry for the battle value and for a light mech on there. Plus the ability for hands for punching. It's got the speed to get in a position, kind of take those shots, run away, do what you have to do. It's solid. It has good weapons and good ranges that complement each other on there, building that in. Those would be my top four. And there's a lot of other great auto includes, but trying to answer the question of where to look next or what to do next. Now I'm going to turn it over to you because there might be some good ideas. There might be some mechs that I need to start thinking about or incorporating, maybe ones I don't own. I'm starting yet another project, another build for Battletech. I said it was done, but you know how these things go. They're never done. They're never done. It's going to be my Dispossessed on there. Massive infantry. I'm talking real time throwing down 300, 400, 500 men, women, psychos, dispossessed, crazies, everyone. I mean, massive infantry. I'm going to be modeling up some field guns on them and some artillery. No mech support, just kind of some really hover and light vehicles. Essentially like the most desperate militia, crazy stuff, last stand, throwing hundreds of infantry coming out against you. I have the bases. I've got the stuff. I have some vehicles picked out. The question, I'm looking for some infantry substitutes just to mix it up. I mean, the regular Battletech infantry, Ironwind infantry, they're great. They work, but I've already got a ton of those. I want to have something that looks a little bit different on there. We're exploring that. I'm hoping to build that out soon, and I'll push those podcasts up. Actually, that'll be a work vlog and video. We'll push that up as we go. But you're for Mechs.